Welcome, welcome to Women of Wisdom, everyone. Today, I'm blessed enough to have Julia Gray out of Lynchburg, Virginia. Yes, I said Virginia. And what she's going to talk about with us today is something that really fascinates me. Um, Her company and her model, I guess, the model that she bases her company off of is something that attracted me to working with her and proposing that she be on Women of Wisdom, and that is holistic time management. Now, now you all of you guys know that I interview every single person under the sun. I interview New York Times bestselling authors, but I think we need a little bit of time management in our lives. And what attracted me to presenting this interview to Julia is the holistic part. I I like alternative thinking, alternative medicine myself, and so I am just fascinated to hear what she has to say, and maybe you guys can pick up a few tips. Maybe I can pick up a few tips on holistic time management. Time management, you never know. And so take it away, Julia.
Well, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate the opportunity to be here. This is a lot of fun. I'm just gonna say two things really quick. Julie Gray. I don't go by Julia, and I'm from Middleburg, Virginia, which is actually about 40 minutes outside of Washington D.C. And it's a tiny, tiny little town, and I've been so lucky to land here. I love Virginia, and I love the country life.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
thank you again for having me here. I appreciate it.
Don't we all? Don't we all? I mean, I was up there at the end of May, and I realized why half my business contacts are in Virginia, and I realized why they're sticking around Virginia because it's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. And just to let you guys know that Julie guided these questions for me. So these are not my typical interview questions. I'll I'll spin off these and ask my own feel if I feel the opportunity. And then because this was such a new concept to me, I kind of had a little bit of help figuring this out because I had never heard of it until May, you guys. I had never heard. I've heard of time management coaching, but holistic time management, way out of my realm. So I had Julie help me, and so here we go. And so this leads me to question number one is what is your background and how did you get started in this fascinating realm of time management?
Well, actually, when I originally started my business in 2007 as a professional organizer. So I would actually go into people's homes, help them sort paper, set up systems in their environment. And I quickly realized that they needed so much more support beyond just the space, like beyond just what's happening inside the space. They needed help with their energy management. How much sleep are they getting? And they needed help with how they're tracking their tasks and how their schedule flows. And it was all these different pieces that I wanted to help people with, not just the space. So I went and I got trained as a coach. I'm a certified coach through ICF, and really expanded my business around coaching in 2010. And over time, it's just become my niche to really focus on that holistic approach to time management.
That is fascinating. So you originally started this as rat packing people. And if you put it my way, she's laughing at me because I think we'll all pack rats at one time in our life or another. And so you started this as originally to pack rat people and getting them organized, but then realized, oh boy, this is only one little
Exactly.
part of it. And
it's only one part of it.
Yeah.
And it's really about making those habits last for anyone that's, even if you're looking to optimize your time management and your organization, it all comes down to habit formation, right?
And
how do you set up the habit?
That's a great segue to leading me to my next question. How would you explain what a holistic time management coach is as compared to a normal coach, as compared to a normal organizer, as compared to a normal time management coach?
Okay, so I will say there's a couple of distinctions across all of those. One is, like I just mentioned, I really care about and feel that it's absolutely critical to look at how much sleep you're getting. What I always say is, I don't want you to spend your money on my coaching if you don't have the energy to actually support the systems that we're trying to build. Right? It's just throwing your money away. So we have to look at energy management. I think that's a huge piece of being a holistic time coach. And you have to look at emotional management. So, it's not often talked about in the world of time management that you really need to pay attention to how you're processing your emotions. Think about how often we get hijacked throughout the day and our day goes completely awry because we haven't learned how to cope with our emotions, or we don't know how we best manage our emotions. So that's another huge piece of it from a holistic perspective. Here's the biggest, though. I believe that Sally, I believe that Joe has their best systems inside you. I'm not trying to give you my system. I don't believe that will ever work for you. So my job as a holistic time coach versus, a regular coach, technically, is helping you come up with your systems. I'm not trying to give you my system.
Supporting each and every individual you work with on their personal journey of time management and organizing themselves, and you hit the nail right on the head. Because a lot of people think I am the atypical cerebral palsy, and unfortunately, I'm not. Unfortunately, I do have cerebral palsy. I do have the characteristics of cerebral palsy, but over the years, I was able to become fully functioning, and even though I had to work hard at it, so that being said, we're not all made equal. We're not all made equal. So that's a key point that sticks in my mind, that you are here to support the individual client, not necessarily the group that you may work with, but you are here to support the individual client.
Exactly.
Do you work with groups, or is that too much for you because of your way of approaching things holistically?
That's a good question. I do work with groups. I work with groups and sometimes in the corporate setting, so like teams I'll work with on their productivity, and then I also offer group coaching through my own, through my own programs. And in both instances, because of my approach, everyone gets specific attention on their system. So it's still about helping them uncover what works for them. Even my my workbook that I have, it's not about giving you a system, it's about uncovering your system. Does that make sense?
That makes complete sense.
Yeah, I totally, you get it, Win.
I get it. I get it because I am holistic myself. I turn to holistic healers, holistic time coaches at this point, holistic anyone that would want to help me because I'm stealing myself away from the typical time coach, the typical life coach, the typical anyone. I'm stealing myself away from that because I'm such a unique individual. I learned that when I had my second stop and smell the roses moment, which was losing my mom to a brain aneurysm, which, for those of you who don't know, that's public in my first book, I Win, and it will be public in my second book, too. And so I am leaning towards the holistic way of thinking, the holistic way of life, because I have a condition that can stop me at any moment it chooses.
Right.
So, it's interesting you say I work with groups. Is there anyone that comes into your office or comes into their setting and you say, I can't help you. I cannot help you due to you don't want to accept my help due to the energy is off here, and I say that mildly, and you and I won't get along because you are so stuck in your ways that I can't help you because you're not ready to accept the help.
Yeah, it's such a good question, When there is a concept in coaching called your coachability, right? So for a coaching relationship to work, for a partnership to work, you actually have to be, the client actually has to be willing to be coached. They have to be willing to be engaged. And that's one reason. If somebody is really not willing to be engaged in the process and co-create the process, sure, they're not a good fit, and they're going to know that. The other area where I might turn someone away, and I would turn them away with support, is when they are in such immediate crisis, emotional, something tragic might have just happened, something really intense might have just happened. It's probably not the best time for this work. So really getting other types of support would be better.
You have to be, and I'll explain this to my viewers, you have to be in the best mindset you can be to accept help from any holistic practitioner, whether it's a holistic alternative medicine master or holistic time coach. You have to be ready to accept help. We are all ready to help you. You have to be ready yourself. And a lot of
you have to be ready, but that might not mean that you're in the best state you've ever been.
Yes. And
right? You might be overwhelmed. You might be pulling your hair out. You might be not know what to do, and that's a great time.
And a lot of people don't. They may think that, okay, gung ho, this is wonderful. Who are watching my interview, by the way, and but you guys have to be ready. I don't care if you're not in the best emotional state. You have to be ready to accept help. You can't say, oh, I can do this myself, but I need you to help you because Julie and I are going to be sitting there like, are you ready to have us help you? My big thing, and Julie would probably agree with me, since losing my mom, my big thing is I will walk beside you and support you, but I can't rescue you up and off ground.
Yep. Good one. Very good.
So that's my big thing, and that's going to lead me to my next question. Give me an example of what the typical client you work with. I know you mentioned in the corporate setting, as in group settings, as a team building, but give me the typical example of a client you may work with.
Yeah, so my typical client is actually, I do probably half and half. I work with business owners and entrepreneurs, and I work with executives. I work with, overwhelmed moms that stay at home. I work with a lot of retirees. There's a broad spectrum, but I would say typically it's probably an overwhelmed business owner that has a crazy long to-do list. They've got a family. They feel pulled in, 20 different directions all the time. And they really just don't know how to fit it all in. And there's guilt and there's overwhelm and there's just extreme frustration because you've got these big ideas, you can't get them implemented. You've got to take care of your family. You want to be there for your family, and it's just a real tough spot to be in. So there's a process that I take people through when they're in that space to help shift their mindset around time. It's really about shifting the way that you relate to time can really free up some of those emotions and some of that weight that psychic weight that we're carrying around with us, and then we do absolutely get into the strategies, the tactics, how to structure your day, how to set up your time. But again, that's ultimately I'm guiding you to what your system is. It's got to fit your life, right? It's got to fit your life for it to work.
Yeah, and I am curious because as you said, it's gonna fit our lives for us to do it. And I like one thing you said in your email. Honestly, I can meet with you at 5 p.m., but honestly, I get up at 6:30 Virginia time, which is Eastern Standard Time. And so, honestly, by the time the typical business day is over, I'm exhausted because I've dealt with several people on several different energy levels, and
Right.
I completely got that. And so, you have got to find a system that works. And granted, it's a little expensive dealing with the holistic side. Granted, I'll give you that. And so, but for those of you who are willing to invest your time and your well-being, and for those of you who are really ready to get unpack that in your own life and see the difference, I really recommend working with anyone on the holistic side, including a holistic time coach. And so that leads me to my last question. Give us an example of a tip that you would share with all my viewers out there and every single person out there who wants this holistic time management view.
So I'm going to give you a couple. Is that okay? I'll give you a couple tips. Okay. So I've already mentioned the importance of energy management. That's really, in my opinion, the most critical. Once you're getting more sleep, once you're really sleep is the key. You're going to automatically see an impact in how organized you feel and how in control of your time you feel. The next thing that you really need to focus on is, are you getting things out of your head? Do you have a place to track them, right? This is sort of a guiding principle of time management, but it's up to you to determine what your system looks like. So you don't want to fall into that bright, shiny object where I'm going to switch my tool, I'm going to jump to a planner, I'm going to go to an app, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. You know what? That's great. Jump all you want. It actually helps engage the brain, and it keeps it interesting.
Jump all you want, but it engages the brain, you're right. But it may not help you.
Let me finish. So you can jump all you want, but what you ultimately don't want to let go of is that system underneath of you getting things out of your head on a regular basis and reviewing. So you're actually setting up a ritual for you to review your priorities consistently. Well, here's the last piece of it. So let's say you're managing your energy. Let's say you've picked a tool and you're getting things out of your head regularly. The last thing that you want to do is you want to protect your time. This is the most important tip I'm giving you. We as a culture struggle with setting boundaries around our time. People are pulling at us all the time. Email, phone calls, text messages are constantly pulling at us. It's actually our job and no one else's to respect our time and to protect our time. And so by actually setting boundaries and saying, you know what, the mornings are for me, or this hour of the day is for me, or I'm going to respond to that person when I'm ready to respond to that person. These are all examples of setting your own boundaries. And this is a huge area of practice for a lot of people. If you're feeling overwhelmed, I promise you that protecting more time in your schedule for you is going to be helpful.
And that's amazing, because a lot of the time, and I'm realizing this now, this year, that protecting time for all of us and turning off technology, I said off to technology, exactly. People, and protecting all well-being is essential.
Mm-hmm.
From what we put in to our bodies and how we think.
Yeah.
How we think. I mean, my book has now been considered a self-help book, and it's the way I do it. And it's the way time management, but ourselves, is crucial.
Yeah.
Taking time out to be alone for 2 seconds without technology, with people that won't necessarily throw us under the bus, but you have to figure that out. I can't do it for you. Julie can't do it for you. You have to figure that out. And that's my last statement, and I will leave it with that. You lead your own destiny.
Wonderful. Thanks so much, Wen. You totally get it.